What up? Hello. Hello, hello. Everyone, drop and give me 400. I'm sorry, I'm just eating a little bit of popcorn before we get started here. It's called Girl Dinner. Girl Dinner. I came up with that. I'm copywriting it. A la Mel Robbins. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are in for some motivation tonight. If you feel like you're a loser and you're ugly and you're fat and you're stupid, this is the place to be. This is the club you want to be a part of, because we are going to take that and we are going to change your life and we're going to force you down to the ground where you beat yourself in the face to submission in order to feel like you're succeeding in life. That is where we are gonna go today. David Goggins, what do you have to say? We're gonna find out. I don't have a huge opinion of David Goggins. I've seen him pop up ever so often on Instagram. He's not, really my cup of tea in terms of what I would even be served online. He is like a Navy SEAL. He's like an alpha dude. He's definitely more for the dudes than he is for the ladies like me, us and our feminine energy. He's definitely in his alpha male energy. He is known as one of the most extreme dudes in the world. He won a bunch of, I don't know if he won, but he's completed a bunch of like super, not even just marathons, like ultra marathons and different events where it's like the most extreme elements and the longest runs in 24 hours, no sleep. That's the kind of vibe he gives off. He wrote a self-help book, though, about his life and about motivation. And I will say, I have not read the book, to be fair. But my takeaway just from doing a little research, sans reading the whole book, he seems like he's unhappy. He seems like he cannot have a relationship with anyone, friend or romantic, in any serious way, or with his children, because he's so focused on himself and his routines and his extremeness. Did I say he seems unhappy and angry? He seems very angry at the world. He curses a lot, which I don't care about, but it comes from a place of like hatred, so it seems. And I really wonder where he thinks people who have medical conditions or people who have ailments, illnesses, hardship, where they fit into the world. Because basically he thinks everyone that's not him and everyone who doesn't strive to win ultramarathons is not really supposed to be living. That's how he comes across. Now, he won't say that outright. But that's definitely the undertone of every interview I hear, is that he was this pathetic loser that didn't deserve to live. And now he deserves to live because he pushes himself to extreme physical limits every single day. Okay, that's great, but what about the rest of us? So his opinion essentially is, I think, everyone else doesn't kind of deserve to be on Earth if you're not trying to achieve at the level that he is. And I find that to be a polarizing philosophy on life, and one that I just don't identify with. So again, this is going to be sort of a deep dive. We're going to listen to some interviews that he's given. And he definitely goes on all the bro-y podcast circuit. He's on Tom Bilyeu. He's on Joe Rogan, Andrew Huberman, Chris, whatever that guy's name is, Wilkinson. What's his name? The one guy we heard about before. Anyways, he's on all of them. He gives his, raw speech. He was a Navy SEAL, so that's cool. But he was like a bunch of other things. He went through Hell Week like 4 times or something. I don't know. The details to me are not quite important. He is very physically fit. He claims that he was fat and ugly and disgusting previously, but I think that that's an over-exaggeration. I think it's a storytelling device. He makes it seem like his story is, I was a exterminator, that he went and killed cockroaches all day, and he came home and then turned on the TV and saw an ad to be a Navy SEAL, and he just decided at that point to pursue a military career. in reality, he had already served in the military by that point. So he had put on some weight, and apparently he was a he was a weightlifter at that time. So he's making it seem like he was this big loser, but in reality, he was bigger than he is now, but he was fairly in shape, just in a different way. So it seems to me to be exaggerated for effect. And there's also been speculation. I guess I should bring his picture up in case you're like, who is this? Who is this? And what does he look like? Here he is. There's been some discrepancies alleged with his story, because a big part of his story is that he came from a very abusive home, and that his, parents were very, mom was less so, but dad was very abusive. Mom sort of let it happen. And his brother has, I guess, come out a few times in different interviews and sort of said it wasn't as extreme as David's making it seem. So I don't know who to believe there. I have no idea. I wasn't there, obviously. And sometimes siblings disagree because they have different experiences in a home. So I'm not one to say. But I do wonder if there is some sort of, there's a purpose to keep bringing it up. Like, he really wants you to understand that his life was hell, and then he made it better by going through hell on his own terms. I think that's his philosophy. Like, he suffered as a child. Therefore, as an adult, he wants to continue suffering, but on his own terms. And I guess that could be empowering to some people, but not to me. Not to I. I think, what's the point? I like running. I love working out. I like to go to the gym and do like a HIIT workout class or a Pilates class or a Zumba class. Like, I love all that stuff. And it hurts. It's never like fun to do necessarily. I mean, it is fun to do, but it's never like, oh my gosh, doing burpees is so great. I feel like I'm eating cotton candy while I'm doing it. No, but I also don't think it's suffering either for me. But it seems like for him, if he's not, making his cartilage disappear in his leg, or he's not bleeding, or he's not on the verge of being hospitalized from his workout regimen, then it's actually not worth it in any way, which I find to be just, again, a very odd way to live. But first, before we move forward, thank you so much to Rebecca Romana. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Rebecca Romana said, I thought this said Walton Goggins at first. Who's that? Who's Walton Goggins? Is that David Goggins' uncle? Maybe. No. Oh, well, I guess we got told. Craig?
Big facts. Her charisma is straight up off the charts.
That's for you, Rebecca, because it's true. Thank you so much. And Asari Shepherd. Thank you, Asari Shepherd. And welcome, Asari Shepherd. They said, I'm motivated to keep my money from him. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good as well. I say this.
You're exchanging biofluids.
I also say this to you.
I happen to be an empath myself.
I happen to be an empath myself. I happen to be a masochist myself, is what David Goggins says. Also, he has children, or at least one child, a daughter, and apparently they don't have a good relationship either. He's had 2 marriages, allegedly. Very little is talked about that, apparently. We're going to hear a couple clips. I haven't even heard the clips, but people on Reddit have directed me to those clips. So I'm going to pull them up, and they tell me that he talks about his family. Because that, to me, is the interesting part. Like, can you live a well-rounded life when you have such extreme beliefs? I think probably not. There's a guy, Tony Hsieh, that I used to look up to a lot. One of the guys who started Zappos. And, he talked a lot about, like, not that he had an extreme lifestyle, but he was like running this company in a very kind of extreme way, I thought. And he wrote a book about it, about how great it was, blah, blah, blah. And he ended up dying and overdosing. And I feel like there is some correlation with having to always be at these extremes at all times. If things ever calm down or become, monotone and calm, I feel like it takes over. Like, if you haven't done the inner work, that takes over your body and it just makes you go crazy, I think. So I do worry about him, David Goggins, going down that path at some point. But this is the type of stuff, which I find always the most interesting, that David Goggins sells. So he's got a website, obviously, as they all do, and you can buy merch from him. And it's got this like, I don't know if this is an army thing or some sort of, symbol, but you can buy his merch with his name on it. It says Goggins, estimated date 1975. You don't know me, son. Made in the USA. Woo! Okay. You can get a puffer jacket for $195. What a steal. You can get a thing that says stay hard. Don't stop when you are tired. Stop when you're done. And then you can have this dude's name on your shirt, which who wants that other than him? But okay. He's got another one. Goggins, taking souls. When your world ends, mine begins. Is that a quote from something? That's a weird thing to say and a weird thing to put on a shirt. This is uncommon amongst the uncommon. Amongst? Is that a word? Amongst? I guess among would also work. Okay, don't know what that shirt means. Taking souls. Again, taking souls. When your world ends, mine begins. Is he supposed to be like the arbiter of death? I don't know. Okay, here's a long one. If you want an essay on a shirt, this is the one to get. We live with a day one, week one mentality. This mentality is rooted in self-discipline, personal accountability, and humility. While most stop when they are tired, we stop when we are done. In a world where mediocrity is often the standard, our life mission is to become the uncommon amongst the uncommon. I think they could have workshopped that a little bit. I think they could have went back to the drawing board on that one. And there's an outline of him holding a axe, big Axeman tee. Only $35. It's a premium lightweight tee with a soft velvety hand feel from its unique brushed finish. Blended fabric provides both comfort and performative properties. Perfect for a workout or hanging out. Features a large hanging out. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that in this universe, in the David Goggins universe. You can't be hanging out. You must be working out or planning a workout at all times. It features a large illustration of the new Goggins Axeman on the front and the American flag with the Goggins wordmark on the back. Oh man, he represents America, apparently. We're in Goggins, America. All right. One connection between the two of us, David Goggins and myself, is that he was born in Buffalo, and I wasn't, but my parents were. So there you go. He's got a Buffalo, New York connection. Whoop, whoop, go Bills. Yay. Okay. So here he is. Where's his website? Okay. So here's his website. You can book him to be a speaker. This is another problem I have with him personally. He is part of this circuit of self-help personal development speakers that offers themselves up. I don't know if he's with the company or what, but he offers himself up for a certain amount of money, basically to any facility. So, if Microsoft calls and wants, a speech on motivation, okay, he'll do it. But there's also these super, super scammy talking events. And I went to one and I learned all about it. And not with David Goggins, but it was Tony Robbins, the Canadian guy from Shark Tank, and Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. And that's who I was there to see. Embarrassing. And so what they do is they stagger the big people throughout the day. So at like 9 a.m. it's, Gary Vaynerchuk. And then so everyone gets there early. And then at 1 o'clock, it's the Shark Tank guy. But from 10 to 1, it's like scam artists that are there trying to pitch you courses and teach you and make it seem like, this is a system where you can like make passive income, blah, blah, blah. And you're not allowed to leave and come back. So it's basically like you have to sit there to see the motivational speakers that you want to see. And you have to be indoctrinated in the process. It's like a sales, you're stuck in the sales pitch. And he's done that quite a few times. He's done those where he's the headliner and then people get sucked into coming to the event to hear him speak. And then for 8 hours, they're being pitched real estate, programs and, just get my website and Herbalife and whatever else they want to hawk at you. And I find that to be like unethical personally, but whatever. Never finished. Unshackle your mind and win the war within. I think the war within this guy is self-imposed. It's friendly fire war going on in his mind, unfortunately. All right, let's hear about David. Okay, so my summary thus far has been, pretty bad, but I'll give you the real stuff because I don't know how all this military stuff works because I'm a loser idiot. Okay, here you go. There is only one David Goggins. Okay, you thought there was two? You're wrong. David Goggins is a retired Navy SEAL and the only member, this is kind of interesting, the only member of the U.S. Armed Forces to complete SEAL training, Army Ranger School, and Air Force Tactical Air Controller training. So he's the only person ever, like in the history of the military, to ever do all four, which seems surprising, I think, but there you go. Okay, here's where he claims he was so fat and disgusting, which I don't see it. Like, okay, yes, there's a difference between these two photos, but he looks pretty buff to me in both. He looks more slim and cut in the other one, but he'll tell you that he was, if you look like this, you should, hate yourself completely. Pushing the limit. Goggins has completed more than 70 ultra-distance races, often placing in the top 5, and is a former Guinness World Record holder for completing 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours. A sought-after public speaker, he's traveled the world sharing his philosophy on how to master the mind. When he's not speaking, he works as an advanced emergency technician in a big city emergency room. Do you though? What does that mean? Advanced emergency technician in a big city emergency room. I'm going to need further information about that. That seems suspect to me. During the summer, as a wildland firefighter in British Columbia. Okay, I believe that because that is something that people do in certain areas. They like volunteer firefight and they go in the plains or whatever, especially, military. But the other one, I'm not sure. Goggins goes beyond limits. The pain that you are willing to endure is measured by how bad you want it. Okay, so you're starting to get a vibe already about, I think that to me, toxic mentality of working hard is great. I love working hard, but there comes a time where working hard for the sake of working hard, what's the point? What's the point of it after a while? If you're just doing things to constantly feel pain, aren't you torturing yourself as opposed to overcoming something? To overcome, like the act of overcoming, means you have to get over something. And it seems like he has not gotten over whatever he's trying to work out here. And I find the name of his most popular book, Can't Hurt Me, telling as well. That he's got a lot of hurt inside of him and this is a reaction to not allowing people to hurt him. But part of life, and this is my philosophy, can hurt me philosophy, is that, being vulnerable and being, I guess, vulnerable to pain and to being hurt is part of life. And one of the good parts, putting yourself out there to be hurt and then finding that people don't hurt you or something isn't as scary as you thought it was. And sometimes taking a break and sometimes just enjoying things, and it doesn't have to be hard, is also good in my book. So anyways, okay, so here's from his book. This is where a lot of people have come in contact with David Goggins or have seen the book at like Barnes & Noble or at the airport. So here is the summary of that, and this also gives you some background on his story. For David Goggins, childhood was a nightmare. Poverty, prejudice, and physical abuse colored his days and haunted his nights. Okay, like again, his brother says, yeah, to a point, but that seems a little extreme as to what we experienced. Whether, I don't know to say, that's just what is out there. But through self-discipline, mental toughness, and hard work, David transformed himself from a depressed, overweight young man with no future. He had a job and he was already in the military, but okay, into a U.S. Armed Forces icon and one of the world's top endurance athletes. The only man in history to complete elite training as a Navy SEAL, Army Ranger, Air Force Tactical Air Control. He went on to set records in numerous endurance events, inspiring Outside Magazine to name him the fittest real man in America. It Can't Hurt Me Oh, in Can't Hurt Me, he shares his astonishing life story and reveals that most of us only tap into 40% of our capabilities. Where he got that statistic from his ass is what I have found out. They asked him that question, which I appreciated, in a CBS interview, and he was like, no answer. It comes from nowhere. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Goggins calls this the 40% rule. Okay, here we go. The 5-second rule, the 40% rule, the 20/20 vision rule. Shut up. All of it's so stupid. And his story illuminates a path that anyone can follow, disagree, to push past pain, demolish fear, and reach their full potential. Okay, so that's the summary. Let's hear from him. This is the most recent thing. This is from October 30th. He doesn't post that much. And he curses a lot. Did I say that already? He curses a F ton. Okay. I curse a fair amount. He curses a million times more than I do. So trigger warning on cursing. This caption says, F an arc, do a circle, stay hard. Fellas, listen up. Okay. Here you go.
So I just got through working out, and this guy goes, hey, Goggins, you on that winter arc shit? I'm like, what the fuck is winter arc? He's like, well, people are like setting goals for the wintertime, like working out more, sleeping more, just better habits and goal setting and shit like that. I go, motherfucker, I'm on that 365 shit. It's not an arc, it's a fucking circle. I've been on it for like 30 fucking years. It's a circle that keeps going around and round and round. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Motherfucking winter, spring, summer, fall. Have enough pride in your fucking self to not have this hacky shit to get motivated. Love yourself enough to stay motivated 360 fucking 5. Fuck an arc, do a circle, stay hard.
So that's it. That's his whole thing. That's his whole brand right there in a nutshell. And the biohackers hate that. They're like, not biohack. We need the hacks. We need to take the peptides. We need to get the shots of whatever influenza into our ass cheeks to survive like the caveman did. We need it. Don't say no hacks. Anyways, he shares this this is the photo of him. You know, I didn't deserve anything. I didn't deserve happiness in this one, and now I deserve again to suffer. That's basically what he's saying. Okay, here's another one. So here's him running in the dark. Now, hey, if you enjoy this, which I don't know that he does, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Great. If this is the way you want to live your life, I have no problem with it. Making it into inspiration for other people is where I start to go, okay, this application is not really going to work for most people, and actually not even just work for them, not lead to happiness or contentment. But this is how he chooses to live on a night.
So a lot of people
Okay, I'll just shut up.
ask me what it's like to live with David, and I figured I had the perfect opportunity tonight to just give a little bit of insight. So today, just randomly, David says after we come home from the gym that he was going to go on a 100-mile ruck tonight. So unplanned, just spur of the moment, we're out here. We left just about 12 and a half hours ago, or just over 12. Oh God, that's blurry. 12:43 a.m. It's 38 degrees. And he's about 60 or 60 some miles in at this point. I haven't spoken to him in a few hours other than to give him my socks because it's cold and he has Raynaud's, so he's wearing them as his gloves. And, you know, it's lonely as hell. No one's out here. It's just me. No one would even know he's doing this if I wasn't recording this video. And that's so much of his life. Just all of the unseen work that goes into being David. I don't think people can even imagine the discipline and the hours spent alone just grinding. And the other thing people can't imagine is the pain and discomfort that goes into it. You know, every day when he starts running, it's like the first few miles, he's just hobbling along. And, you know, I know that he's just 3 months post-surgery. 3.5 months ago, I wrote to his surgeon. It was end of September, and I said, you know, David was going to come in for surgery, and he said, well, I just hope he's not jumping out of planes. Well, he sure was. He was in British Columbia jumping out of planes. So,
yeah, is this supposed to be inspirational? Is this a call for help or what? Okay, then here's the caption. And I don't know who this woman is. I'm assuming it's a girlfriend or something, or a roommate at the very least. I'm unsure. But someone says, she says, I guess, because she's commenting on his thing. I guess maybe she wrote, I don't know, whatever. It's coming from her perspective. It says, I laugh when I see the comments that suggest his 1-minute videos are staged. I have logged thousands of miles alongside him and filmed almost every video while on foot, so my body can also attest to the fact that every single video is legit and merely a 1-minute snapshot of what each and every day brings. Calm down. Oh my God. This video was captured as I was crewing him. I guess that's a term. I was crewing him on a 100-mile ruck that at 10 a.m. was just an idea that came to fruition just a few hours later. Okay, if you are in fact his girlfriend, take this as a sign that he would rather torture himself than spend a day with you. Obviously, you had the day free because you're following behind him in a car, but he'd rather be cold and rucksacking 100 miles than like getting a mimosa and chilling by the pool. Do you not see that as a red flag? Okay. Some people are not meant to be understood, and David is one of them. He is one of one, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to grow and get better every day just by being in his presence. Also, this part about like, oh, he's hobbling along in the beginning and he's, breaking his sutures open from surgery. It's so great. It's like, that to me screams addiction. That to me screams like self-harming behavior. And he's maybe not doing it in the traditional way, but he's definitely hurting himself on purpose. And maybe we should look into this as like a loved one of his. I don't know, just an idea. Probably I'm a loser, so, forget what I say. Anyways, Beth Peters. Thank you so much. Beth Peters chose a dumbbell. Dumbbell. I say this.
I'm going to stomp you.
That's what David Goggins would say in this situation. And also?
Poverty mindset.
Damn.
You do not need glasses.
That's what David Goggins would also say. All right, let's listen to another one. He does a lot of running and recording, and I guess the girlfriend is the one who's also running beside him to get his thoughts. So, warning that it's windy.
Another long rehab. It's my first week back running after about 6-7 weeks. I know a lot of you don't understand me. I don't give a shit. But there's one thing I found out. I'm not the smartest motherfucker in the world. But there's one thing I fucking do know. This life is relentless. You better keep coming back from all your failures, all your doubts, all your shit. You better keep fighting, keep getting up. Never fucking lay down for shit. That's one thing we should all agree on. If you've been broken once, you know how that shit feels. That means, fuck it. Try and break me again. One thing in life, suffering has no expiration date. It don't give a fuck if you're black, white, poor, rich, where you come from, how you were raised. It will keep coming after you. Stay hard.
Thoughts? I mean, I guess this type of content would appeal to someone very, very deep in a hole. Very, very at their last, thread of hope in life, it seems. And maybe that's more of like a military veteran perspective. I've never been there, so I can't speak to it. But if someone who's like suffering like very deeply from PTSD, they look at this and go, you know what? Okay, he's speaking my language. It's kind of that tough love type thing. But this alone is not going to fix anything. If this keeps you, trying to find a solution, okay, great. I support that, obviously. But again, this is such extreme stuff that I'm like, how does he have so much popularity? Because I don't think many people would relate. Okay. And he also gives advice. No, there's a different one where he tells someone like, no, actually, do I have that one pulled up? Let me see. There's one where he's at this baseball game or whatever. and someone asks him, like, my wife wants to divorce me. What should I do? And he's like, fuck your wife. Like, okay. Okay. You want to do it or what? Where is it? Let me see. Divorce. Hold on. He doesn't see. Okay. This is the thumbnail. There's two. I guess there's two of them. Please help. My wife wants a divorce. Fuck her. Good advice. Yay. And then the second one. She wants to divorce me. Divorce me. Okay, here you go. Only 2 minutes. There's going to be motivational music, so you know it's real.
Said your wife wants to divorce you?
Yeah.
Fuck her. I'm not trying to be mean.
Hey, brother. First off, want to honor you. Thank you for pouring into Ryan, who pours into us. Seriously, thank you for doing that.
What?
I have a PC question, and then the one I really need to ask. So
A PC question?
I'm just going to ask the real question, if that's all right. The one I'm scared to ask.
Go ahead.
Safe place, right? My wife told me a week ago she's going to divorce me because she wants easy and something different. It's fucking with my head.
You said your wife wants to divorce you?
Yeah, she's about to.
Yeah, you brought that
And nobody
shit
knows.
live,
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah. And it's fucking with my head, my self-confidence, and what's your advice on how to navigate through it?
Shit. Honestly?
Yeah.
Have you been good to her?
Yeah.
Real good?
I can do better.
I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
Fuck her. I'm not trying to be mean. She doesn't want you anymore. Okay?
Yeah.
That's a hard reality.
Yeah.
I've had several motherfuckers not want me anymore. And it hurt, lost weight, gained weight, couldn't sleep, crazy. While that motherfucker's out there getting ass, chilling out, going to the club, and I'm fucking miserable, wasting time while she's living. It's a real easy answer. You gotta get back out there. I'm not saying get back on the horse, but you gotta stop the feelings you feel right now.
Yeah.
There's something, like I said, there's something that everybody's dealing with. And your feelings are the one thing in life that will hurt you from moving forward. It'd be different if she still loved you.
Yeah.
And there was an issue going on. If she wants to divorce you, she's done with you, man. Suck that shit.
Okay. I love the guy. He's maybe don't take your questions about your marriage to a baseball game. Maybe this is part of the problem. He's like, yeah, I've always been good to her. I'm a gambling addict, and I wasted all of our retirement on, the betting on the Boston Red Sox games every weekend. And now I'm here asking you questions because I bought a VIP ticket for $1 million. Yeah, I did nothing wrong. Very interesting advice. Okay, let's finish.
Shut the fuck up and move on. Seriously, there's no answer for that.
Okay.
You're a good man. I can tell you're a good man.
Cannot
It
tell
hurts.
that.
That shows what kind of man you are. Which is why you say, we're good, man. Have a good life. Call her tonight. We're good. I'll give you the fucking divorce, and you step out. Because there's a whole bunch of women who like your fucking ass.
I mean, I guess it's better than stalk her and never let her go and, ruin her life, I suppose. But just like, first of all, I hate interactions like that because Tony Robbins does stuff like that. You do not have the context. You do not have the full story. You're getting one side for 30 seconds and you're making it like a viral clip. We have no idea what that guy's background is, what the woman's background is. And also, figure out why she wants to divorce you, maybe before jumping into another relationship with a woman who will love your ass. Maybe. I don't know. Have some self-reflection. No. Just move on. I mean, I guess so, but maybe a little bit more to that. Anyways, I thought that was kind of funny. All right. Let's watch one more.
So what's the great divide of human beings?
Money.
Who are you on those days you don't want to do things? It's easy to conquer when it's good weather. You got good sleep. Work's going good. The family's good. You feel great. Your body's not injured. Those are the easy days to conquer. But who are you on those fucking days when all hell's broke loose? Your body's fucked up. You're sore. You're depressed. You're miserable. You're not the favorite person at school. You might be getting bullied. You might be falling behind in life. Who are you on those days when shit's all fucked up? That's the great divide. Those people who get up on those days when everything's fucked up and still grind, that's the separator right there. Stay.
But I feel like those people never shut up about how miserable they are. Oh, it was so cold this morning. I had to go for a run. It was so miserable. Oh, but I did it. It's like, why? I mean, you don't have to. It's up to you. It's like they just want an excuse to complain, maybe. All right, here's another one. This is another girlfriend video, I believe.
Hey everyone, just wanted to give a quick update. So smoke jumping season is coming to an end. Today is David's last day. The plane is leaving. He actually jumped a fire last night, came home tonight and told me that he and his crew and a few others were going to be doing a 50K ruck tonight. They were leaving base just after 10:30 tonight, and it is now 3:11 a.m. and I am just behind David, taking him down some crazy ass road that he's on. He's about 23 miles in, and I guess this is how they're celebrating the end of the season. And he's carrying a ruck and the Pulaski in his left hand, as you can see. And that's it. Take care, everyone.
I think their whole relationship is her driving behind him in a car slowly. He's like, this is symbolic, babe. She's like, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. Okay. Now let's listen to some of him in a more deeper setting. Let's start with our good friend of the pod. No, he hates it, I'm sure. Tom Bilyeu. He interviewed him. This is from Tune, actually. No, let's listen to. I have two of his interviews pulled up. This one is from 6 years ago, and it gives you kind of a background of him again. There's another one from 2 years, but we'll listen to that one after. And there's a frank warning, which I already gave you, and I'm probably going to be like demonetized already for this, so, whatever. We'll deal with it. Because there's so much cursing and talking about, his injuries and whatnot. But warning, again, there's cursing in this episode. Okay, here we go. Here's Tommy.
I worked myself so hard.
Okay, wait. But first, the headline of this, the title of this is, "This Keeps Men Pathetic, Lazy, and Poor. Embrace Suffering to Escape Mediocrity." Okay, and I think the thumbnail... Oh yeah, we gotta watch this one too. The thumbnail for this one... Oh, I can't see it, damn it. It's like... pathetic. I'm pathetic or something like that. It's like the thumbnail. It's like, all right, relax, dude. Nothing is that serious. Like, it looks like you're living a pretty good life now, at least. Maybe you should just chill.
Fucked up into this. I worked myself so hard that I turned a person this fucked up into this motherfucker right here. Not off of reading a fucking book off a theorist, off of going to work on myself and saying, I don't know how to do this, but I know that to get over there to that fucking side, I gotta grind myself into a fucking fine powder. And I did it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Impact Theory. Our goal with this show and company is to introduce you to the people and ideas that will help you actually execute on your dreams. All right, today's guest is widely recognized as the toughest man alive, the only member of the U.S. Armed Forces to complete SEAL training.
I'm sorry, I have to comment on this photo. What is this? What is this pose? Never do this pose again, Tom. What are you thinking? What would Goggins do? Not that. Not hold your shirt like this and weirdly smile. Snivel smile. That's what I would label that as. Weird. Okay.
The U.S. Army Ranger School, where he graduated as enlisted honor man, and the Air Force Tactical Air Controller Training. He entered Bud's Hell Week 3 times in 1 year, completing it twice despite a seriously damaged knee, multiple stress fractures, and a hernia. He served in combat in Iraq, was the bodyguard for the Iraqi Prime Minister.
See, he was this weight when he was in the armed forces, so I'm confused as to why he's like, I had to lose all this weight and change my life. It's like you were there during the before picture. I'm getting confused about his timeline.
Completed an ultra marathon with pneumonia and once held the Guinness World Record for most pull-ups in 24 hours with 4,030. All in all, he's completed over 60 endurance and ultra endurance events, often winning or at least placing in the top 5. And when he was asked how he's been able to accomplish so much, he says simply that he hated what he saw in the mirror enough to make a change. Having grown up bullied and abused both physically and mentally, by the time he graduated high school, he was, by his own admission, broken and weak. But instead of accepting that, he turned inward, stopped saying woe is me, and got to work becoming the man he wanted to be.
Instead of accepting that, okay, let's unpack that with a therapist. You can accept yourself and still want more for yourself. You can accept yourself and still accomplish goals. That's a fact, okay, everyone, in case you were unaware.
To do that, he learned to embrace suffering and leverage pain as a way to toughen his mind. And the resulting man that he has become and his indomitable spirit has so inspired the world that he has become the one that the driven among us hang on their mirrors as a reminder of just how much is possible. As iconic NFL coach Pete Carroll said, "In my pursuit to understand and learn from the greatest competitors in the world, he is the one that sets the standard." So please, help me in welcoming the man who once ran 205 miles in 39 hours without stopping, the author of Can't Hurt Me, the legend himself, David Goggins. Welcome back, man.
Thank you.
So,
I think if you wanted to hurt David Goggins, you just say, you know what, you're still ugly, and he would be hurt. I don't recommend that, but I think it would work. I think that would just make him go insane immediately on the spot.
I am beyond excited to be doing the second go around with you. The first one for me was utterly transformational. Just researching you and the way that your mind works. As evidenced by the shirt that I'm wearing, I really am that guy that like put your picture up, and it became this reminder of what we can all do if we're willing to push past that pain and all of that.
Like break your legs?
But speaking of pain, I want to know, why is the book called Can't Hurt Me?
There's some inside fuck yous to people in there, but it's an overall message to people that we're all, a lot of us are going through a hard time in life. Some people have been bullied. Some people are just stressed out. Some people are insecure. Some people are fat and overweight. And the world puts a lot of this shit in your mind. It's not just you. Yeah, you help it. And my whole thing is about, I had to develop a mindset that was indestructible. I had to armor plate my mind. And it's about what you're saying to yourself, but it also comes with work. So whenever I was getting beat down, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever I was going through, just saying, I would put, you can't hurt me. Can't hurt me just became a message, I would say to myself. And that's just kind of where it comes from.
What I find so interesting is your concept of the governor, that basically, I have the chills, that an expert is somebody who's going to tell you what your limits are, rather than the person that's out there practicing getting you beyond the limit. So what is the governor, and how do we strip it out of our lives?
I believe that most human beings are only living at about 40% of their capability. So the mind has...
Again, an arbitrary number that he's decided out of nowhere, just for the record again.
As a governor, like a car. If you're driving a car and the car has a governor on it, the car may say 130 miles an hour, but the governor's set for 91. Once that governor sets in, you get to 91, that car starts doing this. The car wants to go. The car wants to go, but that fucking factory said, we're not going past 91. We have a factory, a nice governor in our brain, and it's a survival mechanism. It protects us from pain and suffering. The second we feel that shit, our mind says, oh no, this isn't fun. we should back off. We should sit down, find something more comfortable. And there's something about the mind. The mind has the tactical advantage over you at all times. At all times of your life, the mind has a tactical advantage over you. Why is that? It knows that you're afraid.
It's a very interesting, and I don't know, again, non-helpful way to think about life. That it's similar to Brian Johnson, the guy who wants to live forever, allegedly. That they can't be trusted, that they must overcome themselves to become the person they're meant to be. Okay, that's always the trope in self-help. But is that true? Could that possibly be your body telling you, which they also say sometimes, not David Goggins specifically, but in this wellness space, that the body knows best, that your body can heal, that your body is giving you signals and signs all the time. So extreme stress, fractures, physical ailments would be signs that you're pushing yourself too far, or feeling like I can't go any further would be a sign to back off. In a healthy working body, your brain is not at war with you. Your brain is trying to protect you. He admits that, but then says that's a fault, a problem to fix. I just disagree with that, personally.
Afraid of. It knows your insecurities. It knows your deep, dark lies. And it starts to push you away from that shit. It pushes you in a direction that is comfortable. The mind controls everything. So what I realized was that when I was growing up and I was 300 pounds and I got all fat and I got all insecure, I realized that my mind kept taking me in this direction. When things got uncomfortable for me, when I was facing my insecurities, I was facing my fears, my mind said, oh no, we have the tactical advantage. We need to separate you from this feeling over here. Life's all about feelings. We want the happy feeling. We don't want that feeling of this sucks. Why am I here? And you don't have any, so you can't answer those questions, so you leave. I started realizing that if in that moment you can answer those fucked up questions and you are now in charge of your brain versus your brain ruling you, that's where all that stuff comes from. So.
But your brain is also you. This is like a Severance question. Anyone watch Severance? It's my favorite show right now. It's amazing. But it's like or even The Substance with Demi Moore. Similar themes. It's still you. Your brain or you is still your brain. Therefore, you're fighting yourself to overcome yourself, which is your own brain. Inception, baby. Yeah. Okay, what I was going to say is, just forgot my thought, but I came back. I think, he's gone through all these trainings, these SEAL trainings, these hell weeks, whatever. But there's a purpose to that. There's a purpose beyond the pain and the suffering of the actual training. It's to be prepared so that when you go to war or when you are in these situations, you are better likely to survive, right? Or like if you're thrown into a situation where, you have been through something hard before, so that when you go do something hard again to, protect the country that you're fighting for, you have a better chance. So I feel like suffering for suffering's sake, which is what he's talking about, like just go work out until your bones fall off, it doesn't have any secondary benefit other than, you prove to yourself that you can do something, which, okay, fine. But that to me, there's no greater good. The greater good of joining the army and doing that stuff is to have pride that you're fighting for your country and you're protecting, whatever, property and the oil in the Middle East. Okay, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like you're doing a service for others. You're putting your life on the line, and it's true. But without that, it really loses the meaning for me.
So the 40% rule is all of that. You get to 40%, your brain says, we're done. Let's roll, man. This is starting to get painful. This is uncomfortable. So you sit down. You have to figure out ways, and everybody's different. That's how the book kind of talks about, like we all have these things about, 5 steps to this and 4 steps to this. It's a lot more than that. That's all bullshit. It's a practice that you have to, it's a habit. So if you know that at 40%, I'm feeling pain. At 40%, I'm feeling pain. That's where the 40% rule kicks in. Now it starts. Okay, I'm feeling pain. My mind's saying all this shit to me. It's saying, get out of here, run, flee. The fight or flight kicks in. Okay, we're done. We're not good enough. It starts telling you all these things. You start to believe it because the mind controls all. This is the time where you have to gain control back of your mind and say, okay, let me see if I can go 45%. And once you start giving yourself more and more hope and start realizing, okay, the mind starts to be, okay, what are you doing? We're supposed to be going right and you're going left. You start then controlling your mind. Start finding more in yourself. And then it goes from 40% to a lot further than that. But that's the start of it though. Get to the spot where your mind is saying stop. Whatever that is, you gotta get there first. And then that's when that shit starts to work for you. You gotta control yourself in that moment.
Dude, we're gonna try to thread a really powerful needle right now. So your response to all of that has been so incredible. So, all right, mind has a governor. It starts to kick in when you hit pain. You're looking for areas of comfort. Most people then live their entire lives there. They never try to get out of it. But you had such a fascinating response. You said two things which I think need to be explored. One is that you created this alter ego, Goggins, which I think is insanely powerful, and it reminds me of Eminem talked about the same thing with creating Slim Shady. It was the way once he had the persona, he could face his fears and he could get up. And then the other thing was you said you need to shut the fuck up.
No, you need to shut the fuck up. Okay. First of all, weird. Oh, my alter ego is my last name. Come up with a better one. Second, why are they fighting? Why are they so afraid of themselves? Why do they have to separate from yourself? If you're overcoming your brain and you're overcoming and you have discipline, why just embrace who you are? Why does it have to be a separated thing? Again, it seems like almost like you are rejecting yourself. So you become something else, someone else, but you're still you. There's no shame in it. I guess that's where I feel like there's an undertone of shame throughout this whole messaging. It's like maybe deal with the shame and then you won't have to run 100 miles a day to feel worthy. Suggestion.
And listen, but talking about just to yourself, like not to try to get a distraction, not social media, not TV, nothing, like go in a room by yourself and really listen. How do those two things, the creation of the alter ego and that listening to the sort of dark, hateful things that you're probably saying to yourself, how do those work together?
So a lot of people can live with themselves. That's the first thing. A lot of people can live with themselves, look in the mirror and say, I'm okay with being afraid. I'm okay with going on this easy highway over here. The easy highway has all these fucking signs and shit, directions, how to get somewhere. And you have to first be uncomfortable with how you feel about yourself. With that voice.
Why is that being construed as a negative? Some people love themselves. Fucking idiots. Disgusting. Why would they ever do that? Okay, I'm not seeing the negative here. There's like a disgust, a distaste for people like that who look in the mirror and go, I'm good. Gross. Thank you. Life is literary. Life is literary. Thank you so much. They said, I'm against people like Goggins and self-help, but also, I love it.
But also,
I do feel as though there are areas of my life where I need to learn a mindset in order to overcome laziness. Don't know where to draw the line. Of course. The thing is, it's finding a balance. I love to, like I said, I like working out. I like going to the gym. Do I always want to go? No. You have to find the times to go. But will I hate myself and berate myself if I miss a day? No. Now, does that make me a loser? Maybe. But I feel like it's finding within you a balance where you are happy. Like, hey, I only am comfortable when I'm super, super fit. If that's your case, okay, you're going to have to let go of some other things in order to do that. Some other hobbies and some whatever. But I think everyone goes through this. But this stuff, this specific to look up to him on such a high level is extreme. And I think if you actually followed the advice or you actually replicated what he did, you would either be hurt physically and not be able to do anything, which is on the extreme end of, you hurt yourself so much you can't even exercise ever again, which is not good, obviously. Or you just, no matter what you do, you're never feeling good about it yourself, ever. Oh, I ran 100 million miles. I still hate myself. I still have to go find a way to prove my worth. That's where I think you got to look within yourself and figure out what's your limits, that you can motivate yourself while also not hating yourself in the process. That's my 2 cents. I'm no, guru, but that's what I would say. Life is literary. And for that, I also say this very important fact.
The medical industry is involved with why eggs are bad.
He must be loving life because no one can get a hold of eggs right now. The medical medium is just enjoying himself way too much.
It hurts. It stings.
That's David Goggins when he's happiest. Okay, back to it. Thank you, Life is Literary.
That a lot of us like to run away from. We all have it. We all have that voice that's saying, hey man, you know, you're kind of wimping out right now. You're kind of being a little punk right now. But a lot of us say, okay, that's okay. It's okay to tell these little white lies to ourselves. So we first have to face the real you. The real me is David Goggins. The real me is a guy looking at you right now saying, I don't want to fucking be on this show right now because I used to stutter as a kid. And I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid that here in a second, I'm going to start fucking stammering and stuttering and the whole world's going to know that I have all these issues. But that's when I see right now, okay, Goggins, you got to go on this fucking show. That's Goggins. Goggins is saying, okay, David Goggins, you're a punk. Life made you this way. We can't live like this. We can't live in fear. We can't live in judgment. We can't be afraid of what the fuck people right now are looking at me saying about me. We cannot be afraid of that. That's Goggins. Goggins saying, fuck all of you who don't like me, who don't want to, and that person then comes in. But you have to be David Goggins and say, man, I'm afraid of this. I'm fucked up here. Life made me this way here. I stutter. I have these issues with reading and writing, and I'm fat and I'm insecure. You have to face that in that dark room. In that dark room is who you are. But in that dark room is where you have to create another human being that walks out of that dark room to face.
Okay, I can agree the first half. You have to admit things to yourself if you want to change. I can agree with that. Creating another human being that walks out of that room, I disagree with because it is still you. So separating it makes you always hate the first version, the person that you are looking in the mirror and going, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm whatever. And now I'm going to be a different person, a better person. But that person that you are looking in the mirror gets abandoned, gets left behind, but that's still you. I think that's where the self-hatred doesn't go away, potentially.
Face who you are. That's the only way you're going to get over all those things. You have to create someone else. Not like you have two different personalities. It is you. But you have to find strength in that visualization of almost me cracking out Goggins, like almost like that Superman cape, like I'm coming out a different person, a person that doesn't give a fuck about anything, who doesn't care about being judged, who knows I'm weak, who knows I'm afraid, who says, whatever you think about me, take it, whatever, I'm here. That's Goggins. In the dark room, you face yourself. You realize you want to be better. You realize you don't want to be this weak, insecure person in the world who has all these problems that we all have. We all have. Social media is a great platform to tell you who we want to be, not who we are. So that's where that dark room is.
And I don't think there's a world where anyone doesn't have problems. I just don't think it exists. I've seen celebrities, I've seen these billionaires. They seem like they got lots of problems still. Some self-inflicted. But I don't think there's a world where you self-help yourself enough to no problems. You don't divorce people enough to never have a problem in a relationship. You just can't. It's part of life. But I think it's almost avoiding the fact that life is full of problems that you will constantly have to deal with and constantly come out on the other side and accept yourself. He seemed to go, if I can just change me into a new version, that version will not suffer and have problems if I cause the suffering myself. Again, it's weird.
I didn't know if you were going to be able to surprise me today because I know you so well from sitting across from you, from researching you as much as I have. But I just really got emotional as you were going through that because it's so tempting to make you extraordinary as a way to not have to live up to your standard. Like even now, and I don't do it on purpose because I know better than that and I want to be extraordinary myself. But even I find myself getting caught up in that and hearing you just now talk about still being nervous that you're going to start stammering. Like if people really hear that you're the way that you are now, not because you pretend like you don't have those things, but because you face them so fully and that you're able to like look at that, be accountable and talk so raw to yourself, like, dude, that's when like, again, I have the fucking chills because when you think about what any of us are going to be able to achieve in our lives, it's because we finally get willing to look in the mirror and say, you're dumb, you're fat. And I know right now people are freaking out when they hear me say that. But talk to me about raw talk. Talk to me about how you started talking to yourself in the mirror, because if they get this, David, like this is the transformational moment.
So in my book,
He's literally in tears. Like, guys, you need to hear that you need to call yourself fat and ugly and stupid in the mirror. This is transformation, everybody. Okay, let's hear this question, and then I'm going to go to the Chris Williamson interview to hear about the family, because I am curious about that too, about the family dynamic. There's a lot there. There's his dad, abusive to him. He's got a kid. They don't have a good relationship. I'm curious to hear more about that, because that is a very big part of life. I think everyone would agree that socializing and family and friends and relationships generally is probably a huge facet, and it should be, of any personal development journey or learning. So I'm curious to hear what he has to say about that, because it seems like physical, okay, working out, he's got covered. But what about the rest? Is this someone you can listen to for holistic advice?
I talk about it a lot. It was my junior year in high school, and I fell back a lot. I fell back in this fucking hole of life. The second you think that you've overcome it and you climbed Everest, you're on that last hold, and life will say, not today, motherfucker.
Give me an example. I need to know. I need to know one example of what you mean.
And it'll push you down. And my junior year in high school, I missed a whole bunch of school, was lying to my mom, had like a 1 point something GPA. I was just jacked up. I mean, I was in one of the worst spots in my life. And my mom was going through a lot of shit too. And she didn't have time to sit back and baby me. And it was me against me. My pants were down to my knees. I was not, whatever was going on, I was in a bad shape. So I went to the bathroom and I had this weird haircut because I wanted attention. I was an attention getter. I went to an all-white school pretty much. Some of the kids liked me, a lot of them didn't like me, whatever. Didn't fucking matter. I was looking for something. So I would dress differently, crazy haircuts, and I went to the mirror, and the reflection in it revealed a lot of bad things. A lot of things that I was hiding behind the saggy pants. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror going like, God, dog, dude, you are something else, man. Like, you have created a character. I want to be at the cool guy table. And whatever I could do to get attention, I did. And
I think that still continues to this day. Come on. You're not a character right now on your Instagram screaming. You're not drill sergeant character currently. Okay. Maybe, again, let's dive into this with a therapist.
It wasn't me. It wasn't who I was inside, but I was scared for anybody to know who I was inside. So in that accountability mirror, I call it, I got real with myself. And I said, you have a third grade reading level, which is hard to admit when you're a junior in high school that you copied on every single thing you did because of fear they're going to put me in a special school. We all know what special means. I'm going to have a title on myself the rest of my life. And being cool, you don't have a title on yourself. So I started cheating. I was dumb. And people say, oh, you know, you have a learning disability. I had a learning disability, but I realized I was lazy. So I called myself out there. I called myself out every which way possible. I didn't call myself out. I was just honest. I was honest. Look at yourself, man. Look at yourself. And it was that day, in a couple of days after that, I just got real with myself. And every day I came home, I called the accountability mirror. What am I going to do today to change what I see in this mirror? What am I going to do today? And a lot of it was I stopped sitting with the cool guys. I actually tucked my shirt in and went to school looking like, hey, man, this is how I'm going to look. If you don't like it, so be it. I had to really wear this layer of skin. I had to develop a really calloused skin on me to take whatever you're going to call me, you're going to call me. Whatever I'm going to be, you know, I wasn't a geek, but whoever I am, you're going to see me. You're going to see me for who I am because I need to change who I'm not. And that accountability mirror just became raw. And when I became fat over the years, because I fell back in the hole, I called myself fat because I was fat. And people don't want to do that. They want to say, oh, don't call yourself fat. Don't call yourself dumb. If you're not real.
Fat and dumb are subjective terms. It's like beautiful. Like it's in the eye of the beholder. So calling yourself fat is like, in essence, a negative term. Purposeful purposefully to cause negative harm to you, I guess, or to whoever you're telling that they're fat. But some people may not think they're fat because, again, fat is relative, you know? So, and dumb is relative also. Like, dumb in what? Dumb, can you fix a car? I'm very dumb at fixing a car. But could I read a book? Yes. Could someone else do the opposite? Yes. Like, so I don't know what benefit it does. I mean, what he's saying is negativity fuels him. Okay, that's his perspective. But I think it has negative repercussions when you are so mean to yourself, obviously.
And raw with who the fuck you are. Nothing's gonna change. And in this nice new world that we live in, we wanna hear, you're just a little big. No, man, you might be fat. And it's okay to hear that from yourself and from everybody else. So that's where it started at. And it's raw. It gets ugly sometimes with me in that mirror, but I'm also proud of myself to be able to tell myself that and then fix what's in that mirror.
That's what hits me. And that's what I really want people to hear is that you can say those things, A, because they're true, and B, because you can fix them.
Right.
And your whole life has been about addressing those things.
Yeah, very good point. I don't know who said it. I just saw the chat come through. But he won't admit that he has a learning disability. Good point. Like, I thought you were supposed to look in the accountability mirror and be honest about your shortcomings. Okay, so if you have a learning disability that you probably have, you could fix it by going to a person that's, you know, skilled in that level or whatever the disability is. Maybe there's a medication for, I don't know, a pathology that you could do. But you can't admit that? Why? Because it's something that is not physical? It's not, I don't know. It's very weird. Like, again, holistic, no. It's only physical. Fat, ugly, stupid. Interesting.
So walk us through how in the book do you help people start addressing it? Because that's what I think is so powerful about your book.
So the first thing about it is, once you realize it, and you have to realize it, you gotta call yourself out. Addressing it is very small. It doesn't go from like one morning this way, next morning I wake up and presto, 5 steps to greatness. No, it ain't that, brother. You read my book, this is hard work. It's every day, like right now. I had to be honest with you, man. I'm even shaking right now being on this show. I'm a big time introvert. How you address it is you face it. You face it every day. You face it every single day of your life.
Who would be intimidated by that face? You're fine, dude.
Where you say, okay, like if you're fat, you need to lose weight. It's patience. It's patience in this fact of accepting who you are right now. I'm fat. I don't like myself. Accepting the fact that if you lose 3 or 4 pounds, that's a huge accomplishment. You have to live in your own fucking world. You cannot judge yourself. That's why social media and all these things are horrible. You can't judge yourself off of the so-called competition that we have made up in our mind. The things that, how people look, how people act, how smart someone is. This is a race that you run completely alone. And you're all by yourself. I had tons of sticky notes all over my mirror. It wasn't like be better than John or be as fast as whoever. Okay, David, yesterday you did this. Today, our next goal for the week is this. So I had a year goal, weekly goals, daily goals, hourly goals, and the big goal was I lied a lot growing up.
Hourly goals.
I wanted to be accepted. One goal was, let's go one day without lying. Let's go one day, and then when I would lie to somebody, I would say, hey man, now I had to go back now and apologize, say, hey man, I lied to you. You know how hard it is to go back to somebody and say, I lied to you? Hey man, you know what? Back there, I lied to you, dude. I was really jacked up. So I figured out these ways of total accountability. Like right now, I had to run this morning before I talked to you. Because why? That's what I'm about. I'm about mind, mad.
I had to. That's the key word. I don't think it's bad to say, hey, my daily goal is not to lie to somebody today. And if I do it, I need to tell them. I think that's fairly healthy and pretty interesting of a goal. I think there's some value in that. But then immediately followed up with, I had to run today because that's who I am. Okay, that's where it gets off the rails for me.
Body, fitness. A lot of folks talk so much shit about, hey, I'm going to change your life. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Are you accountable for what you're doing? Are you accountable? And I mean to the T for what you're saying. I am. And that's where it started. It started with that total accountability of, let's not lie today. Let's tell people the truth about who you are. And when you can get on and tell someone, like I'm doing right now, exactly how fucked up you are, that's the goal in life. To put your life on a billboard, on the busiest road, in the busiest highway in the world, and say, this is how fucked up I used to be. Take it or leave it.
The first.
You're losing me again, David. I don't know why. Again, it's like the what's it called? I always want to call it flatulation, but I feel like that's when you fart. Like you're self-flatulating. Flagellating? What did it call when like the Catholics back in the day would hit themselves with like the vines? That's what it seems like. He wants the shame. He's addicted to shame. And I think he's trying to outrun that by doing these physical challenges. That like, if I could just push myself and feel physically, maybe it's like a manifestation. I don't mean like manifest. I mean like a manifestation of his internal shame. It's like the physical reality of running and doing all this, that if he can get past that physical challenge, he can get past the shame of not trying or not accomplishing it. But I think that doesn't work psychologically, I would guess. I'm assuming that you would, it's not like either like deal with your issues that are deeply rooted by going through a therapeutic, situation, or just run 100 miles. Either one will work perfectly fine. I think he's trying to solve a problem that has a different solution. I want to come back to this, but I also want to look at the family dynamic because I do think that is interesting. And this one is called, this is Chris Williamson, and we saw his interview before when I did the Andrew Huberman podcast, or the Andrew Huberman review. And spoiler alert, I'm not a big fan. And this is a part about why David went back to see his tyrannical father. Okay, so we're just going to skip ahead to this part. Let's see, let's start with sharing David's mother's difficult experiences. Let's start there.
So again, with the audio version of this book, you've done podcasts in between each chapter where you're recapping what's just happened. And this time you brought guests, one of which was your mother.
Right.
And you spend a 35-minute conversation sitting down with her and talking about the experiences that she had with your father and reflecting on that.
Right.
A lot of stuff you'd elected to leave out of the first book. So that means there's been a journey that you've gone through to get to the stage where both you and her and collaboratively you felt okay sharing that publicly.
Right.
Like, what's that process like? Because your mum didn't ask for this. I mean, you kind of also did. You put a book out there because you thought it was useful, and now millions and millions of people know about you. But the gravity field of your notoriety is starting to bring other.
You didn't ask for this. You only put a book out there and sold it to millions of people. Who would have ever thought that they would read it and have questions? Okay. Define, you didn't ask for this.
People in as well. So what was the journey of getting to that stage like?
Well, it wasn't so much me. I had already laid out, a lot of shit about me that was, pretty embarrassing and can't hurt me. So for her, that actually helped her out. She said, wow, if you had the courage to go out there and tell people all your shit, and so that process was, it took about 4 years of me working with my mom because, she was very damaged by what she went through. And so was I. But I knew no one was coming to save me, so I had to go ahead and fix my shit. And she kind of lived in a different place. But when I wrote Can't Hurt Me, it started waking her up. That, hey man, why do you care? Why do you care so much what people think about you, what you went through? Why are you putting so much on other people and what they may say about you? Like there's some stuff I talk about, that is pretty embarrassing for some people. But she got to a point in her life where she was able to, stop caring because we all have our shit. No one, like people, it's so funny to me. There'll be people who are out here commentating about people who are fucking up out here. Famous people who are fucking up. And I don't know how they're able to do that when I guarantee while your skeletons are not being out there, if I were to open up your fucking door, motherfucker, how are you doing that? So
What?
I know that about everybody.
What are you talking about?
Like, people love to talk shit about somebody and keep themselves out of it. And so we went through that journey together.
My
and
channel.
so it allowed her to come out and say, yeah, fuck it. You know, I'm a big person who, I want to give people the confidence to walk in a room of 1 million people and none of them like you, and you just like say, fuck you, I'm good. And walk out with you by yourself.
Who in this world, other than like 10 people who are world leaders or historical figures, have 1 million people that hate them? That's not a realistic experience for basically every human who's ever lived. So I don't know why this is a goal. I want to be able to walk into a room of 1 million people who hate me and say, fuck you. It's like, no one hates you. I'm not 1 million people, maybe 4 that have known you or are bad people to you. But it's just like, that doesn't, what you've experienced in your life, in your childhood, does not reflect upon the world necessarily. It's projection.
You helped your mum do that as well.
And now she can look at everybody and say, yeah, I fucking married a motherfucker that choked a woman to death. I was in a bad place. I'm good with that.
I mean, maybe there are people out there, I'm sure. I've seen comment sections before, but that are like insane. But why is that the reaction? I don't think I would look at a woman who married a man who, I guess, killed somebody as like, what's wrong with you? Maybe I would, but like, to their face, probably not. I don't know. It just seems like a weird thing. Like more people would probably be accepting and sympathetic than hate you for that.
Of the days that you focus on a good bit in that conversation is the day that she decided to leave your father,
right,
and take you and your brother with her.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything that you learned about upon reflection,
Mm-hmm.
where both of your experiences opened up a new realization to you?
That was a hard time for her and for me also. I was ready to leave a long time ago. I was just waiting for her to get the courage to finally leave him. And I don't think anything from that really, I think that's where the damage really began. I think for her, when she left, her fight went away. And it's kind of like when you run 100 miles. When you sit down, your body can then say,
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I'm done.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
The second she left,
it's ironic that he doesn't stop running as a reaction to, if I slow down, I'm gonna slow down and have to deal with these feelings. Okay, I think that's what it is. I think we've solved it, honestly.
that the mindset, oh my God, like we can be human.
It's like PTSD.
Yes, we can be human and we're not fighting anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it just swarmed. The demons that all that fight and all that shit was keeping away, it just came and it swallowed her whole.
Okay, he needs to take this part out and play it for a psychologist and say, this is my issue right here. This is the core issue of my life. How could it not be more clear? He's saying, my mother left this abusive man who I also found to be abusive to me. And as soon as we left, it was calm and things were better. That's when all the problems happen. So his solution psychologically is stay in the fight. That's a coping mechanism temporarily though. Like that's not what the lesson you glean from that situation. It's like, okay, face the issues that you got there in the first place through a mental health facilitator.
And it also swallowed me whole. But once again, like we were talking about, I got a chance to watch her and she set out the ultimate blueprint on how not to be. So I had a hard time learning growing up, but I was very smart when it came to human beings. A genius. Because I lived in such hell, I was always studying people. Who can I trust? Who can I not trust? Energy. I got really good with energy.
It's called hypervigilance, and it's also a coping mechanism when you have trauma. It's not a bad thing necessarily in the moment, but it's not, again, a superpower. It's something that you're given psychologically to cope with the situation, but over a long period of time, you're going to have issues. You got to get out of that fight or flight mentality.
Is this person's energy good? Is it bad? So I became a genius on human beings. So I studied people all the time. Studied all the time.
She also talks about considering taking her own life.
Oh, yeah.
Were you aware of that before you started working toward this book?
Yeah,
together?
she talked about that a few times with me, behind closed doors. And I'm surprised she didn't. There's a lot of stories that are still untold that she probably will never talk about. And I'll never talk about them until she says it's fine. But it was a bad way. So I give her credit for having the strength to say, okay, I need to continue on and figure out, what's next for me.
But she says the only reason that she didn't go through with it is because of you and your brother, because she knew that she would be leaving you in the hands of this tyrant that was going to mistreat you even more badly now that she wasn't around to protect you.
Yeah.
Which is it's beautiful, but it's also kind of a lot of pressure. It feels like a lot of pressure for a child to be the reason for his mother to still be there. And it's also a damning conclusion about the state of her life.
Right.
That the only thing stopping you from taking your own life is these two boys.
But
my mom used to say stuff like that, which also made me feel very conflicted and confused. Like, oh, wow, that's so amazing that you feel that way. But also, not to make a joke at this time, but also, that's a lot to handle.
It's also beautiful in a way because a lot of people only have one thing. You don't need a lot of things. Sometimes the only thing that kept me with that one step forward was one thing. And so that one thing can get you to 2 things, to 3 things, to 4 things. So that was the beautiful thing about that, is that now she's 75 and she's retired because of that one thing.
Huh? I don't get that.
I mean, you're having this conversation with your mum during the production of the audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
You're having a conversation which is difficult to have in private.
Right.
With 2 microphones in front of you,
right,
knowing full well that this is going out to millions of people. It's going to be scrutinized. It's going to be listened to. It's going to be reflected on.
Yep.
How difficult is it to watch your mother opening up about an experience which to you was traumatic, and then reopening those wounds in front of you and talking about that for millions of people to hear?
Oh, it's hard. It's hard, but it's necessary.
Why?
To be able to own your trauma, to be able to own everything about you and look it in the eye. Like, there's a part in 8 Mile with Eminem at the very end when this white boy, fucking trying to make it in the rap world and getting beat down and shit, comes from some trailer park shit. And he's like, how the fuck
accurate
am I going to win this rap battle? Because my best friend got shot in the foot and this dude slept with my girl and all this shit. So what he does to take all the power from the motherfucker who's going to rap battle his ass, he's like, I'm going to tell you every motherfucking thing about me. I'm just going to fucking tell you. And that's how I feel about life. And that's how my mom now feels about life. I'm just going to fucking tell you everything fucking about me. I'm not.
I don't know. I don't think you should be embarrassed about what you've gone through, because most times it's not your own fault, especially if you're a child and you had things going on in your childhood. To tell people about it is not a shame that you should carry, but I don't think you need to do that to heal yourself. I think you can, again, talk privately about your issues. I mean, if you want to, that's one thing, but have to in order to heal? I disagree. I think, again, it becomes an experiment in like self-flagellating, again, hurting yourself by the embarrassment, or like it's almost like a very light version to me of like masochism. Being a masochist, like liking people hating you or liking pain physical and emotional. It seems like you don't need to be that vulnerable to the world. If you want to, that's fine, but you don't have to in order to feel like, okay, no one can hurt me now because I've told them all of my deepest shames. It's like, you are allowed privacy.
I'm not gonna hide. I'm not gonna do none of this shit. And it's a refreshing feeling. When you can get in front of millions of people, get an audiobook, and you can go through your shit and lay it out, and you walk away. There's no more secrets. There's no more secrets. Like when people say, oh, hey, Lance Armstrong, did you do steroids? No. Yes. While I have nothing wrong with Lance Armstrong or anybody else. Just fucking tell them, motherfuckers, man. And guess what happens to the conversation?
Yeah, Lance is healed now.
It's over. It fucking ends.
There's a really telling moment in the book. I think it's my favorite part, and it's not even in this one. It's in the audiobook. And it's when it's getting quite difficult with your mum, and you offer her a route out. You ask if she wants to take a break.
Yep.
She says no. I want to keep going. So it seems like she's got a bit of that dog in her as well.
Oh yeah, she had to.
Well, because she probably watched one of his videos. It was like, don't ever quit, never take a break, never surrender. Ah! And she was wearing a t-shirt that says, David Goggins will never stop or take a break. So if you do, you're a loser. And she looked down and she's like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, she had to. One thing that when you grow up the way, we kind of grew up together. That's how I look at it. When you grow up
Was she young when she had you and
she had me
Trunis
at
Jr.?
28 and my brother at 24. So but after that, we grew up together, and you got to have a dog in you. You have to have a dog in you, man. And so you have to have it, like my grandfather called it, a stiff upper lip. You better have a stiff upper lip. So, yeah, she has some dog in her. She has to. There's no other way to make it out here.
Yes,
you can't just always be, head down in the sand. You got to learn to pick yourself up on your own. A lot of times these fights and these battles, you got to be your own fucking coach. You got to be your own motivator. And she had to do that several times in her life.
Given all of this trauma that you go through, why?
There's a middle ground there. I wish they would talk about the trauma a little bit more. Like, they're hinting at it, but I wish I understood it a little bit more.
Why would you choose to go back and see this tyrant of a father for one last time?
It was the only way for me to move forward. So, like a lot of times, if your back is hurting, it may not be your fucking back. It may be something else in your body that's making your back hurt. For me, I'm like, man, why can't I get past this fucking hurdle? So like I said, I'm always examining myself every day. What is it? Well, there's only one thing you haven't examined yet, and it's going back to the beast, going back to the demon. So when I went back to him, I realized that was the unsolved mystery. I had to look that man in the eye one more time. Like how I studied that Navy SEAL talking shit and lying, I got it from this part right here in the book. I went and I didn't see him anymore as this beast. I started doing research on him, found out that his dad used to beat him really bad. So his dad would put him in front of a furnace, open the furnace up with the flames coming out, and put him right in front of it, have him bare butt naked, and he would whip the shit out of him. And the whole idea of that is if you move, you're gonna get burned. So stay right here and take your fucking beating. So what happened with him,
he's not saying this is good,
those
right?
demons from his father went to my father, and he tried to transfer them over to me. I had to understand who my father was, understand where he came from, understand why were you so fucking brutal to us. I got my answers, took those answers, and made myself better from the answers about him.
I feel like he's so close. And like, this is like I feel like when I watch these longer form, interviews that these gurus do, they seem like they tiptoe around like the more nuanced answer of your dad was brutal to you and now you're brutal to yourself. And they go, no, the key to success is 40% rule. Be brutal to yourself and push past your feelings. It's like, okay.
And so that's why it was necessary for me to go back. I was looking for an apology. So then maybe I could just go be a loser and understand that you fucked me up.
Why would the apology make you a loser?
It would make me feel vindicated.
Justified.
Yes. Like, man, you did this to me. I can go be a loser now.
My failings are okay.
This okay.
Yep.
Because you did this. So I was looking for that.
It can be both, though. Like, it doesn't have to be one or the other. Two things can be true at once. You could have gone through an abusive situation, and you could be in a place where you still accept yourself, even though you're not achieving the highest of highs every day. See, that's where the extremeness, I feel like it doesn't lead to happiness. It's always these extremes.
And when I went there, I realized, because this voice in here was saying, it's not your dad's fault.
He needs to cry.
And I'm like, nah, man.
Honestly.
Because this voice over here always said, it's your dad's fault. This other voice started tuning in, was loud, started getting louder. The more I drove to Buffalo, was saying, you get to face a lot of shit, young man. You got a long journey ahead of you, because you're going to find out that while your dad did a lot of shit to you, you're going to have to fucking make it on your own. And the voice got louder and louder and louder. And by the time I got to that door, and by the time I was leaving that house, instead of me feeling sorry for myself, I started to do a live autopsy. Because a lot of people, when you die, they figure out why you died. They figure out how you died in the autopsy. But we never do a live autopsy to figure out why we're dying while we are alive. And I was dying. I was living every day, but I was really dead. And so I figured it out.
So extreme.
And once I figured it out, I was able to.
He was 10 pounds overweight in his opinion and had a job and just wasn't doing anything exciting. I was dying? That's so extreme.
Reborn. I was able to be reborn.
Oh my God.
What we see is this pattern of generational trauma. Mm-hmm. Your grandfather to your father to you, mm-hmm. father to son, just being passed on. Mm-hmm. Is this part of your mission to be a circuit breaker, to be a dam, to stop this trauma from moving forward into the next generation?
100%. But with people, I'm trying to build people up. I'm trying to armor their mind. I'm trying to get them the belief. Because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor.
I disagree. I don't think that's true. It can be if you make it that way, but this world will beat you down. Not to everybody. Everyone can. Some people, yeah, but you're not in that situation anymore. So I think he's like still traumatized, very much day to day, living in a trauma-filled feeling where the trauma is sort of over now. Or is over now. That was in his childhood. Now he can live comfortably if he so chooses, but the world, as a blanket statement, the world is a dangerous and horrible place. It can be, but it doesn't have to be, and it isn't for a lot of people.
It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness, and it will fucking just hammer you.
It's like a personal curse.
100%.
I don't agree.
So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You've been able to go on an audiobook in your mind. Maybe you didn't write a book, but in your mind, you were able to hear all your past traumas. You were able to listen to them. You're able to fucking say, okay, now I can now talk to people about what I went through. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays in their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it.
He's only not ashamed of himself because he pushes himself so hard every day so that he will not feel an ounce of shame. Is that a solution? Yeah. Is it a good solution? No.
Make it better. We are humans. But then again, if you always think that we're humans, you will always just be a human and always make the same fucking mistakes.
Huh?
You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this shit is knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life. Because while you're probably fucked up, it's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it,
Yeah.
And then use it for yourself. That's the main purpose for me right now.
Have you considered what you would be like as a father?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. He said, do you ever wonder what you would be like as a father? Meanwhile, he is a father. Okay, let's hear that part again. Sorry, I was talking.
Me right now.
Have you considered what you would be like as a father?
Yeah. I actually have a daughter right now. Yeah.
No way. I didn't know.
Yeah. I have a daughter right now.
He didn't proclaim that to the world to get it off his chest?
But that being said, I'm an open and honest person. When you meet people at a young age, so I had a kid at a young age when I was in the worst possible place in my life. So when you're in a bad place, you're not going to meet a Kish. You're going to meet a person that's very similar to who you are at that time. And then you bring a child into this world. And as you start to move up in this world and get better, and you realize I need to get better, you try to pull that person along with you. A lot of times they don't want to come where you're going. And it creates a bad environment. So that's where that is right now.
What?
Talking
but my
about
daughter's 21 years old though.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yep.
I think that it would be all of the learnings and stuff that you've been through as a father, as a son, as a grandson. It makes sense to me that that would have been something that could have been passed down.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking about,
Yeah, he's moving on from this because I think he doesn't know how to tackle it. I'm confused by that interaction. So, he just talked about generational trauma and stopping the cycle and whatever. He's like, yeah, I do have a daughter, but when you improve on yourself, they get left behind because they don't want that for you. First of all, she's a child. So I don't know. Was he talking about the wife and hates the wife? And because of that, he can't see his child? Doesn't seem like he has any interest either, which is kind of, I don't know, very weird. He has a lot of clear-cut thoughts about life, which I disagree with and a lot of things, but he's got clear-cut thoughts and ideas. That one was a little obscure, in my opinion. Let's hear a little bit more about his family in a different interview as well. In a different interview, this one with, no. I want to see why men are so pathetic, according to David Goggins. And they say women hate men. They're like, oh, we're hated. It's like, you guys hate yourselves. And the influencers that you follow hate themselves and hate you as well. So deal with that, male consumers of this content. Hold on. Let me pull up the Huberman interview. Huberman. Huberman. He's the man. Huberman. David Goggins. Huberman went to Stanford. Huberman. Sucks ass. I'm just kidding. I mean, am I? All right, we're going to watch your science experiment, you guys. This is called How to Navigate Relationships as a High Performer. As a high-value alpha male, how to have a relationship with a low-level loser. The answer awaits us. Okay, here we go. This is from 1 year ago. Girlfriend. You'll remember that he's got 6 girlfriends at a time and has deep, very, I don't know, meaningful is the right word, but very involved relationships at the same time, and will disappear for days to make sure that they're all taken care of. And he's going to have babies with all of them. He's a very interesting man. If you want to watch that live stream, it's on my channel.
To you is critical.
Okay, third person mention.
This situation is a red flag.
I really hate that quality of these people.
That's life.
Okay, so we're talking financial, I'm assuming. I give them everything that they need so they can leave me the fuck alone. Again, clip this part out, export it to your iPhone, and bring this to a mental health professional. We need to figure this out. This is not motivational advice. This is unresolved trauma. What's going on? Your family should want more from you than money. I give them everything. What is everything? Your time, your interest, your effort? Obviously not if the goal is to be left the fuck alone. Eek. Dude. If you want to take running advice from this guy, if you want to take, motivation to get to the gym advice from this guy, I say go for it. But you got to realize if you're thinking this man is healed or is stable in any way or has a grasp on what a successful life looks like, watch this clip. Because it's very clear that this is an unhealthy person, in my opinion. You stop living because you're having a relationship with someone and giving them some of your energy and not putting it into 100-mile spontaneous rucksack runs. Your priorities are a little bit off, Peter.
But the person in your life is happy as fuck.
Again, he's like, I give them everything that they need. Everything they need. They're happy as fuck. You can't decide that for people in your life. You can control you and your emotions. I don't think you can, but in theory, you can control your life and your emotions. You cannot control other people's emotions and needs. Just because you declare, I give everything to you, does not mean that that is true for them. That could be true. That's all you have to give. But he's putting it in the context of, I give them everything so they have no right to complain or bitch, as he put it. That is where I think he struggles, because he has to be in control of everything. He's going to be alone because that's the only person you can control is yourself. Sad.
Give them everything they want. They have their life is full, but you feel empty. And that's not a relationship to me. So for me, it's important that you know exactly who I am, because this is what life made. And I'm not trying to change it because I just figured it out. So
I thought your whole thing was looking in the mirror, taking accountability and changing it. Like you were fat, ugly, and stupid, according to yourself, and you decided to change it and had goals and goals and goals, and then you accomplish it, and now you have no problems. But in this case, it's like, this is who I am, I will never change. I thought the whole thing was change. You can always change, never accept who you are, always strive for more, always strive to be better. No, not in this case, when it comes to other people. Very interesting. This is deep. Amen to that, Andrew. That's your response to that? The most unhealthy conversation I've ever heard in my life about relationships and how one should have one? Amen to that, brother. Yes, I be always saying that to my bitches. Get away from me. Oh my God. Like, I can't imagine a red or flag conversation for any woman from now in the future, for any person in his life, honestly, unless you are just there to use him for some other need, money or fame or whatever. If you have bad intentions, that fits in with his mentality. That fits in with his worldview of everyone's out to get me all the time. You have to be on guard. You got to be ready for war, ready to fight, because people are going to try to like kill you at every turn, mentally or emotionally or physically. So I'm going to put a wall up and give you what you need so that you shut up and leave me alone. That is a very, very, very toxic and probably explains a whole lot about why he seems so unhappy all the time. Because you cannot outrun, pun intended, feelings like that without dealing with them. The root cause of what they are. And it's not seed oils. It's not the root cause, okay? The root cause is the psychological trauma from his childhood, as he's alluded to and talked about before. Andrew Huberman, that was the dumbest response for that conversation that I've ever heard. Now, do I expect anything better from him? No. Just an interesting... Amen. Oh, God. It just cracks me up. Oh, my gosh. Your wife as a motherfucker? A person that you're supposedly care for and be partners with? These people are not the enemies. This is not enemy territory. This should be, again, your team. Your SEAL Team 6. The people of your family. You gotta let some people in. It's how we function as humans. White kids. I thought the last story, he went to a school with only white kids, and that was like the issue. Did he go to two different schools? Care to explain, David? Again, this logic does not make sense because he just explained in the last interview that when he had his daughter, he was the worst version of himself. Therefore, that's why the relationship with his kid didn't work out, and the wife or like the girlfriend or whoever, the baby's mother, didn't work out because he was so disgusting at that point of his life. But he looked in the mirror, he took accountability, and he told himself he was fat and ugly, and then he started working out and, did all this stuff to become better. Okay, that was not self-acceptance. Looking in the mirror and going, okay, I am this person. I'm telling my partner this is who I am. He was like, I will not accept this is who I am. But in this case, everyone else has to accept that this is who you are. I think that is a tactic to keep people at bay, a invulnerability tactic to keep people who may want to get to know you and that you'll be afraid to lose potentially because you care for them, and people he's cared for in the past have been taken away from him maybe at some point. That would be my guess. And he doesn't want to do that again. So he's going to put a wall up and say, if you don't like it, don't even bother. And then be a bad version of himself. And then if they leave, it's like, see, they should have known from the beginning. I told them the truth of who I am. It's like, you need to show up in a relationship every day, basically, and choose to continue to be in the relationship. Like, you don't just tell them in the beginning, say, I'm this way, and then treat them like shit and be like, well, you should have known. I told you. It's like, okay. And his response back, amen to that. I could be more upfront about my horrible personality. True. Okay, we got what? Not that much more time. Let's see what else is on here. Accountability mirror, we talked about that. Not getting civilized. Okay. Having a reaction. Uh-oh. What else is in this one? Let's see. We'll wrap it up. Speaking up against bullying. What it was like being studied by Andrew Huberman. Studied, okay. The loneliness of elite performance. He loves loneliness. So that's actually a choice. Being friends with Joe Rogan and The Rock. Okay, no, none of those topics seem interesting. What else does he say here? Finding your passion. No. The only thing to fear. Where to find the book? Not speaking to me. What about this one? Face your darkness and master it. Taking souls is not the easy route. Okay, that's interesting. Testing your mediocrity. Find yourself in the insecurities. Look into your cookie jar. Okay, that's a long segment. Train your mindset. Okay, let's start with taking souls, because that explains his merch line, and I'm just curious about what that means. And then we'll end, and I'll sing my song. And again, just a reminder, I sing my song if you're on the gold straight up membership. So if you would like your name included in a song, that's how you do it, okay? Okay, that's how we do it out here. I hope that's not an offensive accent, because I don't even know which one I'm doing. Okay, here you go.
Someone said that if you were growing up in this generation that you would have a field day because you would take their souls. What did you mean by that?
The younger generation quits. Not everybody. So I gotta put that. People get their butt hurt. So not everybody.
Ew.
Most of this generation quits the second they get talked to. You did this wrong, or they get yelled at. It's so easy to be great nowadays because everybody else is, most people are weak. This is a softened generation. So if you have any mental toughness, any ability, if you have any fraction of self-discipline, the ability to not want to do it but still do it. People have a hard thing understand. I hate to run. And what makes me so crazy, it doesn't anymore, is people go, well, why do you run if you hate it? What are you talking about? I don't want to take showers and eat either. I hate that too.
You stand alone on that. I love a shower and I love eating. So comparing that to running is not accurate in my lived experience. Okay. So he hates running. Okay. So again, more masochistic behavior. Is that how you say that word? I feel like every time I say it, it sounds wrong.
That's life, man. It wasn't until I changed that mentality that I became somebody. I hated going to school. So guess what? I was dumb as shit. That's what 1 + 1 is 2. But if you can get through to doing things that you hate to do, on the other side.
A deep level joke would have been 1 + 1 is 4. That would have been better because he said he's dumb as shit. And then he was saying, okay, 1 + 1 is 4. Anyways, he needs to hire me.
Side is greatness. That's what people don't understand. By me running, I am callous in my mind. I'm not training for a race. I'm training for life. I'm training for the time when I get that 2 o'clock in the morning call that my mom is dead or something happens tragic in life. I don't fall apart. I'm training my mom.
His mom's still alive. So the fact that you're training for life for a phone call when your mom's dead and you have to run every day to prepare for that, that's not a normal experience. Again, just more red flags.
Mind and my body, my spirit, so it's all one, so I can handle what life is going to throw at me. Because the life I've lived, it throws a whole bunch at you. And if you're not physically and mentally prepared for that, you're just going to crumble. And you're good for nobody.
Talk to me about what it takes to be on one side of a door in Iraq or anywhere, knowing on the other side of the door, people who are not afraid of you, they're ready for you to come in and you still have, and they have guns, and you still...
Is that something that people believe, that the enemies are not afraid of us? I feel like at both sides of the war, both sides are afraid to some level, I think. But, okay.
Still have to breach that door.
Curious. They're not afraid of you.
That's a great question.
Okay.
That's a very scary situation when you are on one side of the door and your mind is racing, because on the other side of that door, it could be no one. It could be 4 guys with 4 AK-47s. That door you're about to open could be booby-trapped. So once you open it, boom, your legs are gone. So there's 1,000 things you think about when you're the first guy, second guy, third guy, getting ready to go in a room and fly.
Okay, this is a morbid thought, but I wonder what would happen if he did have some sort of accident or something where he lost his legs and couldn't run. How crazy his life would be. Like, how would he be able to deal with the stress that he currently has without the physical outlet? I really want, because there's millions of people who can't run, who can't do physical activities at the level he does that. And he's obviously built himself up to, like, this is a thing that he needs to do to, like, stay somewhat sane. I wonder, that would be an interesting, like, fictional book or fictional, like, movie. I feel like someone like this with this personality trait has a tragic accident and then has to deal with life in a new way. I wonder if that would be probably transformative. I'm going to write it down.
Flood it. And that's why I talk about the warrior mentality. And that's why so many people are lost when I start talking. You have the right. You're lucky that you don't have to think like warriors think. You're very privileged. I chose this world to be a warrior, and I would choose it again if I came back to this world. But the mentality of a warrior is very different than normal mentality. You must be that person on that door, get ready to open it, thinking to yourself, if I die, so be it. The only way you can go in that door is knowing there's a great chance you're going to die. Like being a SEAL, you train with live ammo. You jump out of an airplane. Everything you do, you could die. So to be a warrior, why people don't understand me, I'm glad you don't understand me. Merry Christmas, good on you. Because being a warrior takes a whole different mindset. A whole different mindset to know that there's a great chance I may not be in the military. Like I was in for 21 years. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky that I'm alive, able to talk to you, able to still run. But when you sign up on that dotted line to be like a SEAL, your mentality changes. I may not live. You got to accept that. And that's the mentality you have.
There's been some talk online, like Reddit specifically, where people were questioning his, background in the military. Like he's, says he's done combat and things, and people were putting that into question. But it seems like that got settled and that he was and did see combat in both Iraq and Afghanistan, I believe. So I don't want to speculate on that too much, but there was some talk and some like skepticism about how he's speaking here about going behind doors and whatever. Like he's done a lot of trainings for sure, but had he actually seen like up close and personal stuff? It seems like he did, but some people were questioning it at one point.
And that's what makes you a warrior. If you're scared to die, you're a bad warrior.
And so what do you use to push through? Is that a Goggins moment? Is that finding the darkness? I'm going through hell, I'll become the devil if I have to? Like what is that moment? What are you pulling up inside?
I'm pulling up a lot of the dark side of me, but I'm also looking at the guys to my left and to my right, realizing that we're here together, man. And I have to be strong for them, and they got to be strong for me. A lot of people, either you like me or you don't, even in the SEAL teams, but when you get to that door or you get on that mission or you get on that op, all that shit's out the door, man. You know, you do it honestly. I mean, people say all the time in these movies and shit, you really out there fighting for that guy beside you. And you can't be a coward. Because you know what, and this is how I look at everything I do now in life, and this sums it.
If you like Severance, like I said before, there's a line in Severance where it's Rickon's book they're reading, The You That You Are. And it's like, you know, if you're at war, you should fight for the man next to you and he should fight for you. And that makes the war a better experience. And I agree. I think that's a good, solid piece of advice.
It up. I hated jumping out of airplanes. I hated shooting guns. I hated the job as a Navy SEAL, but I did it because I wanted to change myself. Everything I do, I'm not really comfortable doing. But
maybe try being a father and a husband. You hate doing that, but it makes you stronger, maybe. Makes you experience something you haven't experienced before. No! Those are motherfuckers! Okay, relax.
But if you choose to go that route, to go be a Navy SEAL, you might as well go be the hardest motherfucker in the world. Because if you're choosing to do something, you have two routes. You can go there and be a little weak person and get through barely, and that's your reputation. Or you can go through the hardest guy you can possibly be, and that's your reputation. So my whole thing is, if you're going to choose to open that fucking door in Iraq or Afghanistan, open the motherfucker.
I thought he said like, I don't care what a million people think about me. He's like, your reputation's everything. People judging you is the most important thing of my life.
Fucking go in hard. Because they're going to remember you by slowly opening it and peeking in. So if you're going to open it and you made the mind to open it, don't crack it open. Open the fucking door, go in. That's with life. If you're choosing to do something, attack it. Because they're going to remember you as not attacking it. So I want to be remembered. You can hate me, but one thing you can't.
No one hates you, dude. And also it's like, yeah, what he said was fine. Okay, if you're going to do something, attack it. Fine, I can get behind that. Whatever. I don't think I apply it to my own life, but yeah, sure. That's great. But the second part is, or they're going to know your reputation is that you aren't that type of person. It's like, yeah, who gives a shit? Who cares? I don't care. They think what they want.
You can't say about me, I didn't attack it. So that's the mentality you have. If you're going to do something, you might as well attack it because you can do it anyway.
Right. Do you use that in civilian life? Like, do you still employ I'm going to attack it, I'm going to take their souls? Like, how does that play out in a non-combat zone?
So he's talking about like killing the enemy, taking their souls. Okay, well, that's even more unrelatable to me. Because those people are people too. And yes, I understand that war is real, but it still makes me feel weird that we say that they don't have fear, because they definitely do, because they're human beings just like us. So it puts me in a weird position morally, ethically. Hey. All right. Well, that was fun. I feel like I'm going to go do 1,000 push-ups so I can sleep tonight and I don't have to have hatred for myself. So that's the lesson I learned. And that relationships are really a waste of time. Good advice. Yeah? Everyone feels healed, holy? You Do you think that he's got nothing to work on? That he's totally good and should be giving advice to people on stages for thousands and thousands of dollars, probably? I don't know what his fee is. I guess I could look it up. What David Goggins' fee is. I'm sure it's less than Mel Robbins, which is crazy because he's at least done more than her. David Goggins speaking fee. Let's just see. I'm just curious. Well, actually, Google AI claims it's between $150,000 and $200,000 for a speaking fee. Here, this is the proof. With the lower end for virtual events. A virtual event for $150,000. Oh my God. These people are insane. For him to go, just fuck your wife, divorce her, she sucks. You are perfect, I can tell by this interaction. It's $150,000 at the low end. However, fees can vary depending on the event, travel, and other factors. Oh my God. Keynote Speakers Agency. Okay. Key Speakers Bureau. I guess that's who he's with. Speaking fee. Yeah. What top? He looks like a model. Calvin Klein? Hello. You should have gone with this photo. You look like a catalog ad. His topics include, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. But I'm not supposed to be comfortable, ever. Right? How can I be comfortable? Stop talking yourself out of being great. Except you should look in the mirror and tell yourself how fat and ugly you are. Okay. 30 minutes for the next 30 years of your life. Do I get a discount? Because you're only talking to us for 30 minutes. Can I pay $75,000 for that? What I would give to be a motivational speaker and make the equivalent of a home every hour, 20 times a year. I wouldn't have any trauma anymore. Yeah, you can do it. Give the worst advice just in a very confident way, and apparently millions of dollars will follow you. It's a good time. It's a good time to be a grifter. Here's my request, and I need to do this myself. Someone told me they sent me a Dr. Amen video to like post on like our internal work thing, and I said no. I refuse to have that be a part of something I've approved. I'm like, no, everything else on the list is fine. This one, no. It's like I mean, he's a psychiatrist, to be fair, but like his whole brand and stuff is bullshit. So I'm like, I don't want to be associated even in a company that I work for with this guy. So I say, if your company is saying we need to hire a motivational speaker, talk them out of it. Or at least talk them out of these people that are just going to give you the craziest advice and cost $150,000 and then also say, we can't give you a raise this year. We're making cutbacks. We got to do layoffs. But we're going to get Mel Robbins to come on stage and give us a pep talk. Like, just scream at the top of your lungs until they give you what you want. That's my advice for life. If you're not getting what you want in life, scream at the top of your lungs, and I guarantee you changes will happen very immediately. They may not be the changes you want, they're the changes you need. It's called the scream method. Scream therapy. Scream in public and see what happens. Take a risk. Take a leap of faith. # Scream therapy. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining me. I'll be back next Thursday. My thoughts are I'm going to watch Apple Cider Vinegar, that show about Bella Gibson on Netflix currently. I'm going to watch it this weekend, and then I will figure out how to make that a stream. Because I can't use footage, I don't think, from the show. But we'll see. Well, maybe we'll just talk about Bella Gibson, like the real story behind the fictional adaptation. So let me know if that sounds good to you, or if you have any other ideas, feel free to post on the community posts. You should be able to make comments, and or DM me on Instagram. If you aren't my friend, then get the frick out of here, you fricks. You are motherfuckers to me. This is definitely getting demonetized. There's way too much cursing. But hey, everyone, follow me on Instagram. I've been hovering at this number for 7 years. Not really, like 4 years, but seriously. I don't care what anyone thinks, but I need more followers. So help me out, please. All right. See ya. Time to sing. Bye. Starry nights. It is raining currently, and I left the door open. And there's rain now in my floor on the kitchen floor. Nicole Campbell, what would you do? How would you handle that? A big towel or a little one, and just wipe it for 10 hours? A console. Do you have any advice? I need to wipe up this rain before my brain goes insane. Chels Marie, what advice do you have for me on this subject matter? Alaska Blood Tundra. Did you ever go through a clean talk phase? Meaning you got a lot of cleaning content, which was subtly telling you your house was a mess. Kara Soto, can you relate? You're the best. I had that maybe 6 months ago, and then I cleaned my house and my baseboards, and then the content stopped coming. Lisa B, I guess my FBI agent that watches me was satisfied that I cleaned up my act. Lillian Massey, did you ever use a passy when you were a baby? Baby, I think I did, but I don't have many memories of it. Personally. Chris Johnson, where were you watching the Super Bowl? Did you want Eagles or the other team to win? The Kansas City Chiefs, the Taylor Swift team. Rob Sheehan knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, the team with the girl in the box that they have a dedicated camera for. That's the team that I was voting against. Rebelled Fuentes. Rebel D. I still don't know how to pronounce the sorry. I'm glad the Eagles won, but I'm also sad because the Eagles beat the Bills the couple weeks before. And I really like the Bills. Mary! Welcome, Mary, to the club. You are now a member of the Welcome Club. Okay. Get a grip, me. Mary, welcome to the Gold Straight Up Membership Club of the Kia's World YouTube channel. Oh, wait. You don't have... Hold on. It's me again. In the void.
This is gold. Straight up.
There you go. Wait. Did you hear that? No. You heard it now.
This is gold. Straight up.
There you go. Mary, quite contrary. How's it gonna grow? Thank you. And thank you to Philly Turn Texan. Thank you so much for that last minute super chat. I appreciate it. Philly Turn Texan said to offset a little of the demonetization. Thank you. Thank you so much. And for that I say... For that I say this. Oh my God.
I'm outside the Cheesecake Factory waiting for it to open.
And on that note, good night.